Hi, my name is Liz. I have auditory processing disorder, and today I want to talk to you all about the Able Kids ear filter for APD. I've decided to break this up into three main sections. The first section is going to be some general information about Able Kids and about the filter. The second part is going to be my personal experience since having the filter. And then the final part is going to be more of the logistics, like how to clean it, how to put it in and take it out, what it actually feels like in the ear. So let's get started. The Able Kids Foundation is located in Fort Collins, Colorado. What they do there is all they do is test for APD. That's the only thing they do. So they test for APD, and they give you, and afterwards they give you an assessment, a list of accommodations. And the big thing is you find out if you qualify for their filter or not. The filter is the big thing. It's the only thing like it in the entire world. What it is meant to do is to filter out background noise. They only have one location, and that is in Fort Collins. There is no other way to see if you qualify for the filter unless you go there to be tested. So they have a lot of people who fly in from all over the country and all over the world. You have an appointment that's 3 hours long. I personally did a 9 to noon. The first hour and a half is the actual testing. And then the second hour and a half, is going over the results. You go over them right then and there, which is so cool. It was really nice to hear back right away. And then afterwards, after that bit, if you do qualify for the filter, they take the mold for the filter and they talk a little bit more about that. The only other thing I want to talk about this general part is that the rate of success, there we go, the rate of success with the filter seems to kind of vary, which isn't meant to scare anybody. I just want to be really honest because I feel like a lot of things can come off like the filter is the super magical thing, but it's not really. There seems to be a bit different rates of success. You have the first bit of people who it works life-changing, it works amazing. You get the middle range of people who it does work for, but it's not this whole magical sunshine and unicorns thing that's going on. And then you have a really small percentage at the end who the filter does not work for at all. And there really doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason as to why it works better for some and not for others. I do want to put that out there because that's something I found a little intimidating before I went. Why I decided to go is after I'd done a lot of research, well, as much research as you can do on this filter. The information's a little hard to find, but with all of the research I had done, I'd looked through seeing how many people had success and saw how people didn't, and it made things worse. But the common factor I found in everything is that I hadn't seen a single person regret going. So I had to ask myself if I would regret not going to seeing if it would work. And I would. So that is why I decided to go out to Able Kids. So for my personal experience, the filter works on the life-changing end of the spectrum. It has really been an incredible tool for me. The way that it's marketed is that it reduces background noise, but as someone with APD, that really didn't make a lot of sense to me because I've never heard background noise. Everything comes in at the same volume, so I didn't know what that was going to be like. And the way I would describe it after having it is that it allows you to hear background noise. It allows, for in the mall, that music in the background, it allows that to be in the background and not as loud as your friends talking to you or the cashier when you're trying to check out. Another difference I've noticed with the filter is that I ask for less repeats. And again, I think that's because I'm not having things compete for each other, so I understand a lot quicker, which is really, really helpful. Now I'm going to talk about when I first got it. When I first got it, I personally didn't notice any differences right away. And they let you know that when you're down at Able's Kids. It's usually the family that notices first. And I think that's because what we're experiencing once we get the filter is how normal people are supposed to hear, So it's really hard to like really describe the differences when it's something that is like so basic and innate. So I talk about many different personal experiences, like specific experiences in my blog, but one that I want to bring up in this video is about my experience of wearing it at school, because I am a college student, so I do wear it at school. I'm not in like a traditional classroom. The classes are relatively small or very small for a college, but it still rings to be helpful for me. And so I'm going to briefly go over the differences I noticed with wearing the filter. First of all, the students weren't as like annoying, to be perfectly honest. I have a hard time with other students like fidgeting with anything or like crinkling paper, clicking a pen is the worst. Sometimes if people are sick and they're congested and they're breathing kind of loudly, which isn't loud to anyone else, just loud to me, it's so nice to not be bothered by that. Like, I notice it, but it's not like in the forefront of my mind. Another thing, I'm looking down at my notes, so excuse me. The other thing this really helps with is the room noise. This is something I struggle with basically anywhere, is how loud the room or place I am is. One thing, because I had tested this, because I had my filter for a while, so I had tested this whole school situation by, for the first half of the lecture, wearing my filter, and for the second half, taking it out, and seeing what the differences were. And when I walked in, I thought the room was okay, but when I took it out, I didn't realize how echoey the room was. It was crazy. Because, like, I could just, like, hear the sound bouncing off the walls, which was maddening. It was awful, because it was a 3-hour lecture. So that would have been very hard to listen to for 3 hours. We also had a smart board, which I noticed buzzing. It's electronics still, wasn't, like, broken, just electronics buzz. Let me see what else I had noticed. And then just, like, walking around in, like, the hallways. Again, this isn't a traditional school, so they weren't as echoey or as long as, like, traditional school hallways. But still, I was walking down hallways with a lot of students walking by, and I was able to keep up a conversation with 5 people, which is, whoa, like, that's amazing for me. I have a hard time keeping up a conversation with, like, more than one person if we're walking, because I lip read is my main coping skill. So if I can't see you and we're walking down a hallway with a bunch of people, I'm like understanding like maybe 10%. I'm not getting anything you're saying. But I was able to fully keep up with this conversation with 5 people. I do want to say that this filter, like, it works so well, but it's also not a cure for APD at all. They do tell you this at Able Kids. They don't claim it to be a cure or anything. But I also just want to put it out there, especially as I've talked about all of, like, the wonderful things it's helped me with. It doesn't cure APD. I still ask for repeats. I still do lip read a lot, and it is hard. I have a hard time answering the phone because of, like, the phone noise and I can't see the person. So there are still things that affect me about APD. This just makes things a lot easier for me. So finally, I want to talk about, like, the actual wearing of the filter. I'm very sensitive when it comes to sensory things. So I was really nervous as to how I was going to tolerate this filter. I had to send mine back because it was uncomfortable. It wasn't awful, but it was uncomfortable. So I sent it back, and it fits really well. They describe it as fitting like an old shoe, and that's honestly perfect. I have walked out of the house without it because I just assumed I had it in because I don't notice it on the daily basis anymore. It took about a month to get there because I am a very sensitive person, and for the first 2 or 3 weeks, I did not wear it every day. Well, I wore it every day. I didn't wear it for like a 12-hour day though. I would wear it for a few hours and take it out. Not when I was in public. I wouldn't take it out in public. But when I was home, it would come out just so I could get used to it, and I found that a good way to get into long-term wear. I did notice, like, when I smiled really big or raised my eyebrows, I would notice the filter move in my ear. It doesn't bother me anymore. It's not something I notice at all. At first, when I would do that, I would feel the need to go in and adjust it, but I don't have that need anymore. So you just get used to it after a while. I can see why people forget they have it in, like when they're gonna go like take a bath or a shower, because that happens and that's how the filter gets ruined and you have to get a replacement. Which is pretty easy to do, but you have to go without your filter, which is really hard. I'm going to show you a bit what the filter looks like. In the video I took, the filter looks really yellow, and it is not yellow. The color I chose was the light pink, or the like flesh tone. It's what it's called. Color. And when you see this video, because there isn't sound with it, you're going to notice that there's this black dot in the middle. It's not actually a black dot, and that is the little hole that is in the filter, that like where all the magic happens, basically. So I'm going to show you that now. So the flesh tone one on me is basically invisible. My hair is down here, but I wear it up a lot for work. And I've never had really anyone ask me about it. I work with kids, and I've had it pretty much since I started working there, and since like the end of June or early July. So I've had it there for 6 months, and I've had one kid ask me about it, and that's it, because it's pretty hard to see if you're not looking for it, because you can't really tell much of a difference, because it is in this ear, but it's pretty hard. I mean, I can't see what you're seeing, obviously, but from a distance, it's very hard to see, even though like I feel like in the pictures it looks a little bit obvious, but it really isn't. I've never had any adults ask me about it. However, this year I am looking to get a colored filter, because I feel like it would be helpful to have people notice, as APD does still affect me. And I personally feel like having something that is visible would give people a little bit more patience and understanding. Now for cleaning the filter, I take a slightly damp towel and clean the outsides, like the molded part. But for the actual middle part where the filter is, which you can see better in the other video I took, there are a couple ways to do that as well. I personally use a small push pin, which is just that it's very, very small. You gently get like, because your wax gets stuck inside the filter. Alright, so now I'm going to show you how the filter goes in your ear. I want to show you, there is the smooth part right here, and there's the bumpy part, which I think you can see better in the other video I took. But this bumpy part is what goes in your ear. This pointed end, it's not sharp, but it is more of a point. This goes in the bottom of your ear right here. And then usually, since it's facing this way, I usually just like push the middle of it in a little bit, and it stays in that way. So I will do my best to show you, though it is a little difficult to show on camera, so let's give it a shot. So sometimes I pull my ear back because it's a little bit easier to get into, but I've done this for a while, so I'm not going to do that. But see, I stick the pointed part in my ear and then just push it in, and there we go. It's all set. Now I am going to show you how to take the filter out. I want to tell you that the only reason the filter comes out is because you take it out. If it feels like it's going to fall out, or it has fallen out, you need to send it back because it does not fit right. So now to actually take it out, all I do is I just like put my nail or my finger underneath this curved part by my ear, and then I just pull it out like that. So that's my experience with the Able Kids ear filter. I really hope this was helpful and provided some information about what having the filter might be like for you. Because again, this is just my personal experience. This isn't how the filter is like for everyone. It's just how it's like for me. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye!